Hello and welcome to another Matura Express stream. Unfortunately, we had some major technical difficulties, therefore we couldn't play the signation and we couldn't do a beautiful intro as always. But you know, of course, how those streams are structured. And my name is Chris, by the way. I'm a bit confused now because it's different, but we're gonna jump right into the topic of oral exams. So today we're gonna do two demonstration exams. One is about the topic sports and recreation, and the other is about health and nutrition. But we're gonna start with the exam sports and recreation with the subtopic sport and modern lifestyle. So as you've already know, the exams have a specific structure, and this structure looks exactly like this. So you have the introduction, task 1, which is the monologue, task 2, which is a dialogue between you and your examiner, and then we have the follow-up discussion. In this case, we're gonna skip the introduction. You should already know all about the introduction. So task 1 in this exam is all about sport and modern lifestyle. The time limit is set by 4 minutes, and the situation is as follows. You are a professional CrossFit athlete, and you have been asked by the University of Innsbruck to hold a presentation to hold a talk in front of students about the importance of sport in our modern lifestyle. Then your task is to give a brief introductory talk to your audience about the importance of sport in our modern lifestyle. And you should talk about what characterizes our modern lifestyle. For example, what has changed for the past to now, or the positive impacts of being fit and active, and how to motivate yourself to be more active and do more sport. Then task 2 is all about the importance of a healthy lifestyle. After a talk, you open the discussion up to questions about how a healthy lifestyle influences your overall health. Use the information, as always, from the attached text. Benefits of a healthy lifestyle, the importance of diet and exercise, as well as your own ideas during the conversation. And then, of course, there is the follow-up discussion, very general discussion about the topic sport and recreation. And down there is the link for the article, of course, which we will provide for you in the comment section of this video. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to start the exam with Karina. And
where am I? This one? No, this one? I'm confused. Oh yeah, this one is me. Okay.
No.
Yeah. There we go. Hi.
And you have to
Hi.
Okay, Karina, welcome to the exam.
Welcome.
I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm very excited about the exam.
So am I.
And why won't you introduce yourself at first?
Yeah, as you already mentioned, my name is Karina. I am an office clerk apprentice. And yeah, I want to go to university and study afterwards. So that's why I'm here doing my English exam today, because the Matura will be important in my future life. So yeah.
What are your future plans actually?
Well, I want to study sports at the University of
yeah.
Innsbruck, but then I've heard that the entrance exam is quite hard. So let's see how that works. But
Yeah.
maybe I want to combine it with some language or something. Haven't decided yet, but well, that's A-levels first and then
Okay.
plans.
So interesting future plans, I'd say. And I'd like to start with the first task 1, which is about sport and modern lifestyle. Whenever you're ready, you can start with your presentation.
Okay, so yeah, I had to think a little bit about the first question when it was about the characteristics of our modern lifestyle, because I guess looking back at the past, like I'm so used to what I see now, so I had to think a little bit. I generally think that, and I think that this is a difference to the past, that people think a lot and know a lot about sports and healthy nutrition and stuff. We all know that, I don't know, drinking 5 cans of Coke a day might not be very healthy, so we know stuff like that. And there's also a lot of people writing blogs and stuff on the internet that inform us about what is healthy and what is not. So I think that's a difference to the past. The access to such information is very easy. You just type into Google healthy lifestyle and you get hundreds of suggestions on what you can do. I think also doing sports has become quite easy nowadays compared to the past, because we have so many options. We have the gym. There are so many institutions or like companies basically that offer sports courses, swimming and whatever, spinning classes, whatever. So I think there's a lot of choice out there. I think in the past that was different. If you didn't like running or skiing or stuff like that, your choice was like smaller. So now you have a lot of choice. One difference as well, and that's bad I think, is that we sit a lot more than people did in the past. So many people have office jobs, like me for example. I sit in front of the computer all day. I hardly ever walk, and I really have to force myself that I take the stairs instead of the elevator in the morning. But I always try, at least. So I think that's a difference as well. We have more sport options, and we know a lot about sports and about food and whatever, but we also sit more, and we sit sometimes 8 hours a day, and then it's kind of like hard to motivate yourself and go running or whatever after a long day. I think that the positive impact, so I think we should all do something. I think the positive impacts are that if you're fit, then you are, I don't know, I think if you do sports and if your body is fit, also your mind is. So you can concentrate better and you have better ideas at work and you just generally feel good. I think doing sports outside is also very good for your concentration, and the sitting that you do in your job is not so bad for your body if you balance it with the right amount of sport. So I think a positive impact of being active is that you can make up for the, also many people who have office jobs or similar jobs eat very unhealthy because they only have half an hour of lunch break and go to the supermarket and have a, I don't know, cheese roll, whatever. And if you do some sports, you can balance the whole thing. And well, about motivating myself, as I said, I have an office job and it's a 8 to 5 job, basically 9 to 5 job. So I try to start in the morning by walking to work. Then also small things like stairs instead of elevators. I also try to do as much sport as I can, because even if I'm not motivated, I know that in the long run it will be good for me. And I think we all also know that if we have a healthy lifestyle now that we're young, it will be good when we're older. Like, the effects of getting old are not that bad. So I think that's my major motivation, that I know that I'm doing something good for me in the long run. So even though it's hard after a long day at work, but yeah, that's my main motivation. And I think most of us have that. If we go to the gym or if we go running, it doesn't feel that great while you're doing it, but afterwards it feels fantastic, and you have the feeling that you did something and you're happy afterwards, and that's a good motivation as well, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very comprehensive talk. And of course, it's very important to motivate yourself, and I really like that. But we're not at the end of our exam now. And therefore, we have to complete task 2, which is all about the importance of a healthy lifestyle. And what I wanted to ask you is, do you think that you mention it, but do you think that people's overall concentration, although it is just an exercise of 5 minutes maybe between work, or just like doing I don't know what I called Hampelmänner,
jumping jacks.
During work can affect our concentration and our actually how we work, not how we work, our concentration, and it can affect the hours we are able to work, so we can work more. Do you think that sport is that important, or is it just...
I think that doing something instead of staring at your computer all the time, be it, I don't know, running up some stairs or doing jumping jacks or sit-ups, I don't know, is good, simply because it gets you away from the computer and you don't sit all the time and you do some movement. Probably for concentration overall, I think going outside would be better. I don't know, taking a walk during lunch break or something. Like where I work, for example, the food place, the canteen is in the same building. So if we don't want to go out, we don't have to really, but then many of us really try to take at least a small walk. I think that fresh air is a component, but yes, I definitely think that it's like increases your the ability to concentrate. I don't think that you can concentrate for 5 hours sitting in front of your computer, not doing anything else.
Because so you'd say general overall movement with your body can affect your the hours you are able to work, and of course your concentration.
I don't know if I only by doing exercise, if I'm then able to work the 12 hours that our government suggests with full concentration, but at least I can do my work better, I think, during the time that I'm sitting there. I don't know if it's if it would increase my ability to work forever, but I think that for the time I'm just more focused and more concentrated.
Do you know any things, or would you like that you have something like a yoga class or something at your place or at your workplace or something? Or do you have such things at your workplace, or are there programs?
we don't have yoga, which I think would be a good idea, because I think yoga and the other thing, what they call Pilates,
Yeah.
I think they have become really popular, and I think that some of my workmates, by talking to them, I would think that they would like to do it. It would be something that would motivate them, a yoga class in the morning. It's not that hard, you don't come to the office like completely drained, and so I think that would be a good idea. In my company, we did have somebody who organized a running class, so it was going running at 5. We were actually trying to train for the Firmenlauf thing, just didn't work. So there was attempts, but no, it didn't really. But I think it would be a nice idea. Maybe also in the morning, because some people, I don't know, I don't think that doing sports in the morning is so popular unless you go running maybe or something. But if you really had a group of people who motivate you all together, and if you really say, okay, tomorrow 8 o'clock yoga class, I think that would be a good idea. It's always better in a group, I think, than alone.
So if it's a collective interest, it's
and if somebody there to push you, if the person sharing the office with me, if she would say, well, you're so lazy, go with me, then I would go just for the fact that she called me lazy. So I think that would be.
So I think if somebody knows how to motivate you, this person can motivate you with such phrases.
Yeah,
that's very good to know. But
you're lazy always works. Always does.
Doesn't work with me, but yeah.
No. So you don't mind if somebody calls you lazy? You don't get up and
no. Okay, we're done with task 1 actually. Task 2. I'm sorry. The follow-up question is just a general question actually. Since we have talked a lot about sports, I'd like to talk or to ask you if you do also, since you seem very active, if you also take care of your recreation. So do you do any spa days or sauna or something?
Definitely. I'm a big fan of the spa actually. The one thing that I'm not really good at is only doing a spa day. So the public swimming pool that I go to, they have both. They have a spa area for sauna. I really like the sauna, and they also, you can do lanes in the swimming pool, which I think is pretty good. So if I'm there, I try to do both. So it would be like about, I don't know, 15 lanes just to have done something, and the rest is just sauna. But I really like the sauna. And also what you said, I think that yoga and Pilates classes, I think I would like that for recreation, because all of my friends who do it say it's very nice and relaxing kind of thing. So I'd have to try that out. But up to now, wellness spa thing is recreation. For me, that's what I do most.
Okay, so thank you for this interesting and very
thank you very much.
Good exam. And we're gonna continue with the notes I've made during the exam, which is...
we have to go,
so generally, of course, the exam was very good, I'd say. So we had an interesting talk, and the monologue was also very structured, as it should be. And we're not gonna talk about the introduction, of course. We mentioned, or she mentioned, not we, her career, what she's doing, and what made her decide to do the A-levels here at the VFI, and what her future plans are. So those are the basic things you should mention. It's just to get you warmed up, actually, to do a little warm-up. It's actually the same in sports. If you're not doing a warm-up and you start cold like an engine, your language or your brain can't switch into English mode normally, if you're not used to it, of course. And therefore, we're doing a little introduction and a warm-up. Do we have questions?
We do, but I'm actually not done reading them. Oh, it's just it's no questions, it's just a general talk about the importance of sports and nutrition and about how much access people have to information on the topic. So
yeah,
it's no questions, really.
Thank you for those people that started a discussion or are still discussing in the chat. We, of course, try to interact with you as best as we can. If you have any questions, of course, concerning the topics or, in our case, the exams, don't hesitate to ask us. And we try to answer it as soon as possible. But now we're going to continue with the exam, the first exam Karina did. And we're going to focus on task 1. So remember, task 1 is a monologue, which means mono, one, so you are talking, nobody else. And the time limit is 4 minutes, so you shouldn't be under this time limit and you shouldn't be over it. So be sure to practice at home, try to be as close to the 4 minutes as possible. And in this case, of course, you are someone who is holding a presentation or doing a presentation, holding a talk to an audience. And the audience, of course, is the examiners. And in this case, Karina mentioned all of the bullet points I've listed here in the exam. What I really liked is that she focused on the general knowledge and the common knowledge, but basically that is now a little bit higher than in the past. So we have access to more things. We can access the internet. There are hundreds of apps for our mobile phones and tablets, and what else? There are hundreds of videos. There are hundreds of, or thousands, maybe millions of videos on Instagram, on all the social media, where you can get all information all about sports, and you don't even have to pay for it. For some of them you have to, but a lot of them are free. You just have to take your time, have an interest in this topic, and then you can basically learn all about it. Yeah, exactly. She also mentioned that modern technology made basically enabled us that doing sports basically has become easier. So it enabled us to do more than we used to. So, and of course, back in the days, you might have thought about, if you're doing sports, like doing team sports, or there wasn't that popular to do sports on your own and have a TV in front of you nowadays can solve actually the problem, since there are DVDs, there are YouTube videos where the trainer kind of shows you the exercise, and then you can do the exercise exactly how the trainer did it. So you don't need anybody else for the training if you want to. Of course, training in a team is always more fun. My personal opinion. What else? The positive impacts of being fit and active. She mentioned concentration. We mentioned all about work environment, that it's better for you if you have something like, if you try to move your body in a way, yeah. And the last bullet point, how to motivate yourself to be more active and to do more sport. She mentioned personal things, so walking, taking the stairs, preventing the elevator. Basically, try to do a lot of sports. Even if you're tired in the evening, just do half an hour of a high intensity workout. I think it's really good for you and your body in general, and it will help you stay focused. Then we talked about the importance of a healthy lifestyle, and basically we talked about here is how to make your workplace a better workplace, or make your work more to not basically how to work more efficiently, and this can be achieved, of course, through sports. Maybe there are some yoga classes or something in your workplace, maybe there are not, but maybe you're a really active person in your workplace and you'd like to start a yoga class. And I think it was a very interesting talk. And so healthy lifestyle, of course, is also all about nutrition, but since we're gonna talk about nutrition in the next exam, I did not ask any questions about the nutrition in combination with sports. And the follow-up discussion, of course, was a very basic question. That's how basically follow-up discussions are asked, not super specific, but just to ask the examinee again, or to be sure that the examinee has broad knowledge on the topic. Okay, do we have any unanswered questions or similar to this? Okay.
No.
In this case, we're gonna continue with the next exam. The next exam is all about health and nutrition, and the subtopic is eating disorders. And introduction, we're gonna skip this. And task 1 is all about how to eat healthy. In this case, you're a dietitian who works with the ÖSV, which you all should know. You have been asked by the head mistress of a school to hold a talk in front of the school's pupils about the importance of eating healthy. Give a brief introductory talk to your colleagues about the importance of eating healthy. Talk about the definition of healthy eating, the dangers of fast food and sugar, and recent trends. Although maybe they are not that recent anymore, but such trends would include veganism and vegetarianism, just as an input. And then task 2, health trends and eating disorders. So after your talk, you open the discussion up to questions about the impact of health trends on eating. The impact of health trends on eating disorders. So the impact, what do they have? How can health trends infect eating disorders, or how can they trigger eating disorders, basically? In this case, I have listed the article again, which is called the 6 common types of eating disorders. And of course, in the end, there is the follow-up discussion again. The link for this exam is also, or will be posted below this video. So for this exam we're gonna skip the introduction, I guess. We already know how to do the introduction. And yeah, so we can start with the exam now, since we're working on the correct answers to the comments, which we're really passionate about in Matura Express.
Yes.
And yeah, in this case, we need...
No, this one. Okay. Close.
Okay,
Close enough.
so we're gonna
Welcome
start
back, guys.
with task 1. And Karina, whenever you're ready, you can start with task 1.
Okay. Good. So yeah, I think it is a very interesting topic. I think that, well, it's a pleasure for me to be able to talk about it because it's one of those topics that I think is very, very important. The definition of healthy eating, I think, is, or I think we all basically know what healthy eating means, so we should eat a lot of the healthy stuff like vegetables and fruits. I think this 5 times something healthy like vegetables or fruits rule is still around somewhere. I think that many people, many doctors also agree with that rule. How easy that is or not is a different story. We also all know that drinks play an important role. I think they were not considered so important for a long time, which I think was a mistake. People were always trying to reduce sugar and fat, but then that's not a topic with drinks. But they were always trying to reduce sugar in food and buying and producing all those light products that are sugar reduced and fat reduced. But then having 2 Cokes a day, which probably, or 2 Fantas a day, or all of those fancy lemonades that there are around. So I think we all know that, I don't know, water or unsweetened tea or something is very important. But then I think that a healthy lifestyle or healthy living also includes a balance of things. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't make any sense to say, well, I'm not gonna go to McDonald's anymore and I'm never gonna eat a piece of chocolate anymore in my life. I'm pretty sure that that's not included in the package of healthy living or healthy eating, because I think I shouldn't eat too much of anything, like no binge eating at McDonald's, no binge eating on chocolate, but I'm definitely permitted a piece of chocolate every now and then, or a cake if my grandma bakes me one. I think healthy eating nowadays, we know that like a piece of cake doesn't kill us, and we know that, or I think that it's a balance of things. Also because I guess that if I stick to a diet that is really strict, and if I cut out sugar completely, for example, probably at some stage I really want sugar, and then I eat a Milka bar, like the big ones, all in one go, and that sort of defies the point as well. Dangers of fast food and sugar, as I already said, I think we are very aware nowadays of the dangers of sugar. Also this concept of hidden sugars, like I think we know that, or media and newspapers and stuff and magazines tell us that there is a lot of sugar in stuff that we don't really originally thought that there was sugar in it. I was, for example, really shocked when I found out how much sugar is there in the ready-made pasta sauces kind of thing, because I like them. And so I think we know a lot about that. Fast food is another topic. I guess it's nowadays common knowledge and common sense that we don't have a double Big Mac burger for dinner every day, because there's too many of the unhealthy fats in there, which I think is the major problem. But again, I don't think that McDonald's once a month is a problem. There are some things at McDonald's, or there's usually these 1 or 2 things that people like a lot at McDonald's, like that one special burger that they really like, or they have one special, I don't know, wrap or whatever. And I think regardless of how healthy you live, you can permit yourself a burger every now and then. And the recent trends, as we already said, maybe they are not that recent anymore, but still very popular. I think vegetarianism is a very good trend, and I would actually like to be a vegetarian if my willpower was strong enough. I don't know if that's the right word. I think many vegetarians are vegetarians because of the animals, so it's maybe less about themselves, but about the well-being of animals, which is a point that I totally understand. And I think all those reports and pictures that are on Facebook or in newspapers where you see the poor pigs like in a lorry, like squeezed into that lorry on the way to the slaughterhouse place. I think that is a good reason to become a vegetarian. About like the persons, I think that if you don't eat meat, you might have to reconsider your diet a little bit and make up for the stuff that is in meat, and then eat more, I don't know, nuts or whatever, for making up for the iron and stuff that you lose, or at least that's what doctors say. But yeah, I can totally understand vegetarians for like animal care and animal well-being reason. And if you are a vegetarian, you probably have to get your blood tested every now and then and make sure that there's no lack like in your blood. Vegans, well, I can also, of course, understand people who decided to go vegan, but then I think that it is, especially in a town like ours, still quite hard. If you are a vegan and if you're not allowed any milk product, or if you don't want to eat any milk products, I think in a city like Innsbruck, it restricts your lifestyle a little bit. There's not that many restaurants that offer vegan food, I have the impression, because it has not quite, or I think the understanding for vegetarians is definitely there. I think vegans, they're still a bit, there's room for improvement, I think. So I totally understand if people are vegan, they probably also have to find something that makes up for certain losses or certain lacks that they might have. But yeah, I think there's also a social aspect to it. I think not everyone agrees with the idea of veganism, and also restaurants, I think, don't cater very much for vegans. But as I said, good trends, both of them. And as I said, I would really like to be a vegetarian if I had the strength to be one. I don't know.
Okay, so thank you for this task 1 for your monologue. And I'd like to continue with task 2, which is all about health trends and eating disorders. So, since there are a lot of health trends, or have been a lot of health trends, they're constantly changing, mainly or often triggered by celebrities or similar person that look good in the eyes of some persons. Of course, not everybody likes super trained guys or girls, depends, of course. And do you think that those health trends have an influence on eating disorders, or can cause eating disorders?
First of all, one thing that I noticed is a positive trend, I think. You said it already. Nowadays, I think the tendency is a bit more towards like being trained and not being super skinny, which is, I think, very good. But so now I think sport has become an issue again. But a couple of years ago, also, when you looked around in my school and stuff, people were always trying to be super skinny without doing sports, really. So, they would not train in order to be skinny, but they would just not eat. So I think the trend now is much better. And if that is something that celebrities did, then this is a good thing. So I think there is a difference between a super skinny picture on Instagram in a bikini because the person obviously doesn't eat, or because the person is slim and looks good because they do something, they train.
Mm.
And you can tell, I think if you compare the pictures, you can see that this is a person who does some sports and is therefore slim and in shape. So I think that's a good trend. I do think that if you always have super skinny role models in front of you, and also nowadays with the Instagram thing, like you can always post messages and stuff, I think it's dangerous if a celebrity says, well, haven't eaten for like 2 days and stuff, you know, that's you have that sometimes on social media, and I think that is dangerous because we should not, or celebrities should not be the reason why teenagers, not only teenagers, but mainly why they don't eat for 2 days because they want to be skinny. That's something that I should not do. But yeah, I guess they can be. Okay. But then also they can also have a positive influence and make teenagers do more sport and.
Yeah. But do you think all those health trends might influence teenagers or young adults that they're constantly thinking that they are maybe too fat or don't have or have too less muscles, as with especially with men. And don't you think that this can lead to kind of a dangerous trend, I'd call it, that might affect like people that are not anymore that are not confident, that don't have any self-confidence because they don't have abs or something?
Well, I think you mentioned an important point already. I think it's a lot about confidence. I think that if I train and if I do sports, if I only do it for the looks and if I only do it for a good Instagram picture and for some compliments by other people, oh look how much better you look now than you did a couple of months ago, I think that that's the wrong motivation, because probably, first of all, you probably can't keep up the speed really, and then there will be periods where you don't have that much time, and then your training goes back or whatever, you don't have that much time for training anymore, and then you don't get these compliments anymore and you feel kind of like bad for that. Or it turns into some kind of addiction. Like I think nowadays stuff like sports addictions, or not so much sport addictions, but training addictions, like people who are addicted to working out in the gym, is an issue. I never thought it is, but obviously it is around out there somewhere. So people who go to the gym 3 times a day only to reach a body that, well, also because the older you get, especially with the gym, I think, you just can't keep up the pace, and there will be the moment where you can't do that much anymore, and if you are then not self-confident enough, then this might definitely be a problem. Like.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for your interesting input. We're now coming to an end of this exam, but we have to do the follow-up discussion, of course. And I'd like to ask you if you think that following a specific diet is helpful for your goals in sports, or is it okay to follow a specific diet if you're not an athlete or something? So do you think it's important, or is it important to you?
I do think that, especially I definitely think that people should take care about what they eat. And most people nowadays, or a lot of people nowadays, also try to do some sports. But then I think the more sports you do and the more, how should I call it, experience you get, the more you know what is good for your body and what is not. I think everyone has this feeling of like what is good for me and what is not. So I guess,
Yeah.
like me, for example, I cut out on a few things in my diet just because I know that after having eaten them, I don't feel particularly well, and you know, so, and I know also about food that I really like and that makes me feel good as well. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think we all have those eating habits that are good for us. If you train, then there are definitely specific needs, and if you're really going in the direction of like professional sports, it's probably good to consult someone who knows about it, like a dietitian or a doctor even maybe, because doing sports on a professional level and doing a lot of sports is a strain on the body, a positive strain, but it is a strain. And then you might need some doctors to tell you that this is a diet that you should follow, or that you should supplement your diet with some certain things. And then I think, but yeah, definitely, there's sports and diet definitely go together, also because I need certain types of food in order to, if I go running, I probably can't do without carbohydrates, like I need them. So so that definitely makes sense.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you
for taking part in the exam.
It was a pleasure, as always.
And
I like
now
exams.
we're gonna have a look at this second exam.
Where are we? This one?
Yes.
Closed.
And
I'm gonna answer some questions.
of course, introduction. We didn't do it, so we're gonna skip that and jump right into task 1. Very interesting. Maybe it was a bit too long, but of course
I like talking.
Yeah, I've listed a lot of things actually, but there was a really nice input on those 3 bullet points, and I really like the ideas that Karina mentioned, especially especially the idea about the balance with your diet, that you can allow yourself to have sugar or anything other, maybe not that good carbohydrates, maybe, yeah. It's all about the balance. I really liked it. So, and of course, if you follow a diet, a really strict diet, it might lead to binge eating or binge drinking, of course. And you just get the craving for sugar or something, yeah. And then, of course, the dangers of fast food, drinks, especially light products, are very dangerous. Hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and so on. We know about it. I think we know about it because we have the internet nowadays. Mostly, yeah. And of course, she also mentioned recent trends, vegetarianism, her own struggles with trying to be a vegetarian, and veganism, which she also knew a lot about actually. And then we jumped into task 2, health trends and eating disorders, and it was again a very interesting discussion we had. We talked about the current trends, that they are better than the past, in the past, or maybe we talked about role models and training dangerous addictions, but also eating disorders can also be triggered by health trends, of course. Yeah, therefore you have to be very careful with such trends. And of course, the follow-up discussion was also okay, so there wasn't any major mistakes. And yeah, with this, I'd like to have a look at our chat again, if there are any
No.
statements or questions?
Stayed at the same point as it was before. Michael and Andy were discussing if it is a topic where you need to know a lot of facts, or if we do know enough about it because we just do because of the internet. But you covered that already.
Yeah. So I think the internet is always a good resource to add some knowledge, to gain some knowledge, to gain your own knowledge. Not only with the help of the books you have, of course, but also consult the internet and try to gain as many. Not as many. Gain knowledge and try to maybe read articles on it and so on. Then you will be fine for the exams. With this, I want to say goodbye to you and wish you a very pleasant evening. We're gonna see each other on Wednesday with, I think it's Maria's turn. I don't know about the topic. Yes, we're gonna see each other on Wednesday, and yeah, have a good night and goodbye.
Bye.